Alright everybody, hope you guys are all having a lovely day as always. Loki's over here, he wants to say hello, and actually let me switch it over to here very fast. You can actually see him. Loki. Oh, he has to find a toy first, we were just playing around. Hello. Come on, up. Yep. I don't have a toy, I know, I'm sorry. Well, he said hi, but I don't have a toy, so he doesn't want to talk to me right now. He's hiding, oh, he was hiding right there. But anyway, hope you guys are all having a good day here. The market was all over the place today, and so of course I have a plan to talk about that, talk about cryptocurrencies, which actually held up quite well. I actually think the worst of all of this was actually felt not by crypto, but by the stock market instead. And then from there, we're going to be breaking down exactly what these tariffs are, the big countries that they're going after, and what they may be able to do to retaliate. I plugged some stuff into ChatGPT, so it gave me some ideas, which I'm going to talk with you guys about. Afterwards, we're going to go over to CNBC, just kind of check out some more of the markets here. And then we're going to be talking about the Federal Reserve, about what they can do. And then just a sprinkle of a minute on Cointelegraph. Then going over to X, and I have my X link in the comment section if you guys want to follow me there. I'd appreciate it a lot. And then, of course, we're going to see if we can find any videos from CNBC to talk about as well. This is just going to be pure chaos today across the entire market and tomorrow. So we just better get ready for it, because like we talked about before, these tariffs were much worse than I think people expected, including myself. And while we saw maybe Bitcoin have a smaller dip going back down to where we were just yesterday, the stock market definitely was not feeling the vibe here. I was not feeling any type of optimism whatsoever. So let's just kind of hop on board into this one first, and we can kind of see what's happening here. Let me go over here very fast. There we go. All right, let me move this over. There we go. Okay, so starting off with Bitcoin, guys, I'm not going to go too deep into the technical analysis right now, but starting off from Bitcoin, you can see that we actually had a bounce going into the announcement yesterday, and then we came back down afterwards, but we really didn't have any surprising new, oh my god, we're all the way back at $77,000 type of move. We actually managed to hold around 81,322 and have a bounce. Now, this bounce is not something I would say is very strong. You can see we're bearish, and as far as the oscillators, the daily chart is now bullish, bearish here. Barely bullish as far as the MACD is concerned, and of course bearish as far as the change of character is concerned. And I don't even think I have that on. There we go. See that change of character that happened way back over here? You know, it's led to some nasty moves so far. Now, all of that being said, Bitcoin still remains bearish only because of what's happening on this weekly chart, where we had the opportunity to have the bounce back up. Unfortunately, the news took us back down, and we still see the RSI and the stochastic continuing to get worse and worse at a week-by-week basis. Maybe the RSI and the MACD are kind of starting to plateau, but as of now, you know, of course, they're still in the bearish territory here, so I want you guys to just have a firm understanding of that. So when we do our dollar cost averaging and everything else, you know, we're doing assuming the market's going to continue to come down. And just because I love to remind you guys of this as well, moving averages, volatility, that was a lot of volatility. And that's why I told you guys no matter what happens tomorrow, whether it's good tariff news or bad tariff news, we were going to have a lot of volatility. And you actually saw us pop off quite a bit before actually having that large move down. So again, when we play around with these moving averages, we're going to see some crazy stuff. Right now, we could always have another $2,000-$3,000 plus day with Bitcoin. I know it sounds irrational, but we still could. I would think right now that because of how we're handling this, unless the stock market really gets to a good level of support soon, you might actually see us pull Bitcoin back down for one more dip. Maybe not as far down as 76,813, but definitely down below that level, okay? Now, we'll go talk about different currencies and stuff like that in a little bit as far as the technical analysis behind them. But what I want to do is just pull up coinmarketcap.com very fast, just so you can see how bad Bitcoin is performing, I would say, compared to the rest of the market. So Bitcoin's only down about 1% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum is down 0.98%. XRP is down 0.25%. BNB is down 1.5%. Solana is down 3%. So that's a 3.5%. Dogecoin's down 3%, ADA is down about 1%, and Tron is actually up 1%. So altcoins maybe haven't had the worst move of this, you know. I would say overall, you look at the last 7 days as far as Bitcoin's concerned, it's down 5%. If you were to go over here to the NASDAQ, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The NASDAQ is down about 4%. So, again, pretty comparable, I would say, overall. You're seeing the NASDAQ also hit an order block right now, or just a level of support. I don't know how strong this one is going to be, but you can see it in this way as well. We're hitting a level of support, and we may have an opportunity to bounce off. My big concern right now is no matter what happens at this point now, this goes for cryptocurrencies and the stock market here. Well, I'd say Bitcoin has a little bit more of a runway. At least for the stock market here, it looks like we are going to have a death cross here between the 20-week moving averages and the 50. Now, historically, those have led to really bad times for our economy, very bad times for a lot of other stuff. COVID happened so fast we didn't even get the heads up because I guess most people didn't care about COVID. The one over here, we had already bottomed out a little bit. This was back during rate hikes back in 2018. Back over here, we had a whiplash all over the place. Back over here, a nasty drop back in 2011. After nasty drop right over here. And I guess, way back during the 2008 recession, right? Long story short, it looks like we're probably going to have more bad volatility on our trades right now. When I look at the stock market, though, I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, we have a trend line going up, right? We're not really too close to it just yet. We can still come down a little bit more before we start to have a larger support level. I think if we do break down below this trend line right here, which is a little bit different, to be honest, it's more like that. I think this is when you see people go into pure capitulation mode, and that's when you see a lot of the big billionaires and stuff start loading up on different assets and capital. What I did today off of this horrible news is I ended up buying up some stocks. I bought your typical stuff like a little bit of Tesla, a little bit of Microsoft, a little bit of Google, some tech, Nvidia, a little bit there, but it's smaller bids. But I guess the dividend plays we talk about every now and again. I mean, they're not special. It's not like this is my idea. We kind of follow the Warren Buffett type of model when you go after Coca-Cola and things like that have dividends, and people usually go there when it's a safe haven. Those ones have been performing well, I believe. I haven't checked them out in a minute, but we can talk about that a little bit later. But you're just seeing the stock market go into an absolute freak out mode here. And week over week, we are just a lot worse off. And we haven't been this low since September of 2024. So we basically lost a few months of gains here. I think that's kind of what it equates to. If you zoom out, look at the daily chart here. We're still kind of bouncing around support level, so it's fine. If you zoom out for the long term, anytime we have these types of spikes, this is the Dow Jones, of course, but anytime we have these spikes down, it's not a bad idea to buy up a little bit. You don't have to buy up a lot now, but we are going to get close to breaking down below the 20-week moving average here, and historically, when we're down below that, it's a great opportunity. Same with the 50-day moving average, just like how it's a good opportunity with the 100 weekly moving average for Bitcoin. Same thing when it comes to the 20 or the 50-week moving averages for the stock market. If you guys are more long-term focused, those are the real discounted prices where you guys can buy and make some money. NASDAQ, same thing. NASDAQ is heading for a support level, but it's not. It's all the way down here, like $16,000, $17,000. That's like $1,500 less than where we are now. We could always, move this up, I would say, a little bit to like where we were right here. And of course, we've already broken down below that first one, but we still have a level of support kind of around 17,500. So I'd open up some clusters here on the NASDAQ and the SPY and see if we can find anything a little bit later on. Remind me if you guys do want that. And as far as the SPY, same type of concept here. We've seen these dips before. When they do dip, we typically want to buy, but this is a monthly chart, so this could take a while here. And these tariffs have just like beat us down. Now, for us crypto lovers over here that aren't, as heavily in the stock market, I guess I'm in both, right? We, of course, saw the news from the announcement yesterday. We saw Bitcoin come down, but where the stock market might have come down even more, right? After hours, they both had that dip. Throughout the day, we actually saw the SPY come down further and further and further, while Bitcoin didn't come down. It actually had this nice little rollover here that was pretty unexpected, I would say. I was assuming that Bitcoin would fall down more just because of how the stock market itself was doing. So we'll kind of have to see how this pans out here. Now, I do have the executive order news up here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But as far as CNBC, Trump is now open to tariff negotiations, which is contradicting the White House aides. I was watching Bloomberg today, CNBC today, and Fox Business today. All of the aides went out and said there is no negotiations. This is to change the overall foundation of world trade. Let's just put it like that, okay? Literally less than 12 hours later, Trump is over here saying, well, he is open to tariff negotiations. So I think these are not going to be long term. The idea that he wants to change everything, I don't think is really true at this point. Just because he's open to trade negotiations, which is going to be very confusing for people, because I feel bad for Trump's aides when Trump tells them something, they go out and say it. Then Trump's like, you know what? I changed my mind last minute. Sorry, guys. I mean, they're paid to be able to do that too, but still, it's kind of a ruthless thing to do, right? Now, I mean, it says shoppers will pay more for bananas, coffee, and toilet paper because of the tariffs. You know, I don't know how much I pay for toilet paper, but I get like triple plies, so it's like Charmin super strength or something like that. It's very, very soft stuff. And then afterwards, right here, we have a little bit of an article about the Federal Reserve. I already have this popped up here, and what I'm going to do is actually just go over here to this mode so you guys can see exactly what's going on. And I'm going to drag my face over here because I don't have to worry about the YouTube video anymore. So we have our own ideas about this. I'm not going to explain my ideas again. You guys know how I feel about the Fed and what I think they need to do, what Trump, I think, is trying to do with them. But the story is, titled, Federal Reserve is unlikely to rescue markets and economy from tariff turmoil anytime soon. I disagree. I think he's going to have to do it before the end of summer. Let me just go over here very fast. Now that President Donald Trump has set out his landmark tariff plan, the Federal Reserve finds itself in a potential policy box, having to choose between fighting inflation, boosting growth, or simply avoiding the fray and letting events take their course without intervention. Should the president hold fast to his tougher than expected trade policy, there's a material risk that of at least near-term costs, namely the potential for higher prices and a slowdown in growth that could turn into a recession. We're going to go into a recession unless we get this figured out, I would say, in the next few months, right? We won't know we were in a recession, I would say, until like next year, though, if that makes sense. We'll see the layoffs and stuff, though, so it'll be a little bit different. The central bank is tasked with using its policy levers to ensure full employment and low prices, the so-called dual mandate of which policymakers speak. If tariffs present challenges to both, choosing whether to ease support for growth or to tighten and fight inflation won't be easy, as each courts its own peril. Let me ask you guys this. Would you want high inflation but a job, or no job, right, but lower inflation? I think the average American would want a job, but I don't exactly know that for sure. I would assume the average American wants a job over, no job with no inflation, or low inflation, because there's still going to be inflation, right? So I'm curious to hear what you guys think about that, because if it was me, I'd rather have a job with high inflation, and maybe I'd have to change my spending habits, but at least I have a job and the luxury of, having some excess capital. Or, the other one that we already talked about there. Now, they're saying it's going to take a little bit of time. I don't think it's going to take a little bit of time. They talk about the risks of waiting and how that could make it worse for the market, because the market really wants the Fed to step in here. And of course, the what would you even call it? The odds of a rate cut happening over the next few months, it's getting better, not worse. So you're seeing that the odds getting higher, which I think is a very good sign for us who want to see the market bounce back off here. But this article is saying it's not going to happen anytime soon. I think it'll happen sooner rather than later. I don't think it's going to take until like September or August or something like that. I think we're going to start having them in May. Once this is set in stone here for a little bit, you're going to see the economy and all the numbers kind of shift appropriately. And if there's more layoffs, then the Fed has to act. If there's less growth, the Fed has to act. There's going to be different scenarios in which the Fed has to act. One other thing I think I wanted to talk to you guys about, I don't know if they actually pulled it up here. Let's see. Nope. Okay, I'll find it a little bit later. It was just going to be an article about. Let's see. Nope. Just some of the unemployment numbers. But we do got jobs numbers coming on Friday, which is tomorrow here, so we should get some more news from that, which should be fairly interesting, I would actually have to say. Now, as far as everything else is concerned, I tried to look for something on Cointelegraph. There really wasn't much news here. Trump's pick for the SEC chair makes it out of committee. This guy's supposed to be light. You know, he's not anti-crypto, which is good. U.S. sanctions and crypto wallets tied to Grand Tex Exchange and Yemen Houthis. Again, nothing really crazy there. XRP win leaves Ripple a bad actor with no crypto legal precedent set. All right, still kind of a weird little thing going on there, but we don't know much about it. Trump's Liberation Day tariffs create chaos in markets, recession concerns, all the stuff we've already talked about. So nothing really new there. If you go over to X and you actually go to trending, there was like stock market trash being talked about before. Now it's Giannis because he probably hurt himself or something like that. Geez, 35 2017. Damn, he was there tonight, so he's not injured. Good. Eddie, let me see right here. Well, here's one. Nike. It has to be about Nike. Nike moved their production from China to Vietnam to avoid tariffs, only to get hit with new and larger tariffs. You know, right? So, Nike built an empire on the back of slave labor and deserves to fall, especially that. I think this is probably what they're talking about. Nike just lost nearly $10 billion in market cap in under an hour because Trump slapped a 46% tariff on Vietnam, where Nike has over 450,000 workers in 130 factories. The stock cratered nearly 7% and investors hit the panic button. That's not America first. That's tanking American companies while pretending it's patriotism, right? So there's going to be back and forth all over that. Can't wait to see MAGA crowd lining up to help Nike make sneakers for $1.50 an hour, living the dream. AI is freaking crazy. Look at those freaking shoes right there that AI made. Probably not real shoes, but freaking hilarious. Look how the shoelaces come out the bottom of the shoe on this one too. AI, I love AI so much. And then Nike says, somebody wake up Biden. This is not the same type of Nike here, which is kind of hilarious though. So again, Nike's in some trouble as well. I mean, there was a lot of stuff falling down today. We can get into that a little bit later. Right now, Bitcoin is bouncing, which I think is pretty good. Overall, we're in a bearish situation, so I think people are going to try to short if we break down below the support level, but they're only going to short probably down to like 78,500, so maybe about a $1,500 drop if they play it right from that breakdown point. Until then, we're kind of just waiting to see if Bitcoin can really get a pop here. For me, that pop would definitely have to come off of news, though, not technicals. We have the technical bounce right now, but we need the news to say, hey, something has changed, therefore we are allowed to buy right now. Okay. I think there was actually just Trump on a plane talking. Okay, end of the world. Oh, well, I'll find it a little bit later. Before I hop on over here to CNBC and stuff like that to find a video for you guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. If you guys are just joining the stream, please make sure to like the stream. There's like 9 likes right now. Please like it. Helps out a lot. I know YouTube doesn't really reward you for pushing the like button, but every like, every comment really does help out. And hey, Daniel, happy to see you. Should I roll all my alts in a Bitcoin for the time being? It really depends on how long you want to do it. For me, I'm not doing anything like that just because I don't want to get taxed for it, to be frank, or have it deal with my taxes. Affect my taxes, I should say. But if you think you're going to be here for a minute, you kind of just don't have the stress of looking at your altcoins. Probably that'd be a good thing for most people, I would say. No bull run, no time soon. I shake my head. We could easily bounce off and get going really quickly, but I don't think Trump is going to make the decisions necessary to get the market pumping back up. He would have to say, okay, I'm sorry about the tariffs, no more tariffs. Still going to do the tax cuts and the deregulation. And then afterwards, he's going to say, you know, Jerome Powell also has to come out and say, okay, now we're cutting rates. There's too many variables that I just don't see happening right now that would make that like that bull market imminence, right? And Mixless actually just said it right there. Yeah, so it could happen pretty fast. And hey, Matt, is you scared? Oh my God, there's a lot of people freaking out about this market. Let me go back over here very fast before I go over to the other videos. So Apple dropped 9% today. 9%. Look at that. All after hours too. Just continue down. 9%. AMD 9%. Amazon 9%. Avgo 10%. Bank of America, right? 11%. ConocoPhillips 10%. CVS flat. Chevron 6%. Disney 9%. Devon Energy 12%. Google only 4%. HD, Home Depot, 4%. Intel up 2%. Interesting. What the heck happened with Intel? We've been talking about Intel a little bit lately. JP Morgan and Chase down 7%. So it's been pretty brutal. Nvidia is down about 8% as well. OXY is down about 11%. How's my ExxonMobil? Oh my God, how is it? Down only 5%. I'll take it. Oh, well, we got rejected off of an old support level here. This must have been a weekly support. No, we didn't. We already broke out above this. What is this? Was this a channel? This was an old channel. What happened? Just, I guess oil prices went down. Yeah. Okay. In the scheme of things, I'm not really mad at ExxonMobil. It's just getting knocked down off a higher range. But I do need to raise this technical now all the way up to here. Yeah, ExxonMobil, poor guy. Warner Brothers down 13%. Target down 11%. Oh, Target. Target's getting boycotted and all types of shit right now, so they're in trouble. Netflix only down about 2%. Netflix isn't getting hit at all by this. And I guess, they don't really have tariffed goods. But if you go over here, something like, what do we talk about when we talk about following like the Buffett model? Like we talk about Coca-Cola, right? I don't actually spell how to spell Coca-Cola. I don't spell it at all. Coca-Cola ticker. Oh, KO. Yeah, I totally spaced on that one. KO. Alright. Coca-Cola is doing just fine. This is the monthly chart. Now, it hasn't really grown much since COVID, right? But just from a holding perspective, it's actually been doing quite well, except for back in October, it came down hard. So it's getting back up, but this is like close to all-time highs compared to a lot of other assets. The dividends still make some money. I think the only thing that's really impacting them, I would say, is I think RFK is going to make it so if you guys are on federal aid, like food stamps, I think is what they're called, food stamps, you can't use the money for sugary drinks, which I don't actually see as a bad thing. I think you probably best to use it for like things like food, right? Drink water. I'm a drink water guy, but maybe you can use it to buy sugar. Then maybe you could also just buy a Kool-Aid packet for like 50 cents or something like that. Back in the day, Kool-Aid packets, when I was a kid, Kool-Aid packets were a nickel. Then they went up to a quarter. Then they went up to like 75 cents. I think now they're going up to like $1 or something. It's insane. Oh, yeah. I've been chugging water lately as I'm supposed to. And oh my God, that's making me full. All right. What else do you guys have to say here? And hey, Jamrock, happy to see my man. I don't know why I'm so far away from my desk today. I've been trying to move stuff around, but it makes me hard to see you guys in messages. And hey, Sin, happy to see you. I think you got a new logo right there. Nice. Mike, do you think these countries will come to some type of agreements? I'd probably say 25% probably in the next couple weeks. The stronger ones probably a little bit longer, and the stronger ones I think are what's going to cause the issues here with us going forward, and what's causing the market to come down all the way. Let's see. I'm curious, how would you determine a good time to dump a large chunk of cash in the market to ride the recovery? Would you use a monthly chart? Normally I use monthly and weeklies, but again, like the way I look at this market. So let's go over here and let's go to the Dow Jones or something. Here's the monthly chart, all right? you can see we've gone and we've had bad times of this. During the recession, we went down month after month. COVID was only 2 months. The rest of them were like 2 to 3 months. This one over here is like 5, 6 months, right? I think it just helps me put it into perspective. Oh yeah, we're not at the top. I could buy a little bit right here, and I could wait a couple years, and I'd still be fine. Now I'm not buying the Dow, obviously. I'm buying like Google or Tesla, something like that. But you go over here to the weekly chart. Typically, by the time we have a golden cross between the 20 and the 50-week moving averages, so the green line crosses above the blue line, you might not get the bottom, but you have the comfort of knowing you have a good chance of the market just kind of going up after you buy it, right? The market just kind of go up after you buy it. The market just kind of go up. I mean, we had COVID, so, you know, who knows? The market just does fine after you buy it. The market just does fine after you buy it. The market just does fine after you buy it. Now, of course, there could be hiccups and stuff like that as well. But, I mean, here's one back in 2004 where things got kind of choppy and weird, where we went up a little bit, but ultimately got really choppy before actually having that larger move. But even with that choppiness, you know, you could have held through that and still made some money down the road. Now, this is a weekly chart, so it still took some time. Right over here, went higher, right? So I would say for most people, that's a good opportunity. Now, back over here during the dot-com bubble and stuff like that, I'm sure this was a different time and there was just different things happening because there are some golden crosses in here that just never materialized. I don't think we're in that type of environment, but it would be interesting. Like even if you go all the way back here to the 90s, you know, golden cross happened, you should be generally fine for a while. So if your goal isn't just to hit the bottom, you know, which is difficult, right? And you just want to buy with some certainty that, okay, I have a good chance of it going up week after week after week after week after week after I buy it, well, then I would say following the 20 and the 50-week moving averages are usually going to be the best thing for you, right? I'm looking at the NASDAQ. When this happens, oh my God, boom. 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 No cross there, but the cross over here, you're good. Now, for Bitcoin, it is something similar here between the 20 and the 50. I think what I need to do is go over here to this one, take off the order block so you guys can just see the lines. Blue is 50, green is 20, yellow is 200. Golden cross there. Got choppy for a minute, but it worked out. Choppy over here for a second, still worked out. Choppy for a second, still worked out. And of course, they tried to raise interest rates during this time, which kind of caused Bitcoin to come down. And of course, a golden cross way back over here, but people aren't going to look at that too much. On the other flip side, death crosses are usually bad. Death crosses are bad. Death crosses are bad. And Bitcoin, we're not sure if we're going to have a death cross yet, but we could if we don't figure this out in the next few months. There have been plenty of times where Bitcoin has gotten close to having these death crosses, right? Really, really close. Didn't happen. Like, literally, let's zoom in here. Look at that. Close, but didn't happen. And then over here, close, but didn't happen because we jolted up. Close, but didn't happen because we jolted up. Maybe. But I mean, these things aren't going to really hit until... let me see. Do I have a... I just want an arrow. Where's my arrow tool? Oh, is that the arrow tool? Oh, it is. Yeah, okay. I mean, that's not until July. Right? Ish. Maybe even June or something like that. If things get really, really bad and we dump over the next few weeks, that, of course, would accelerate this here. Usually those moving averages, people knock me on them. I mean, people knocked me when I told them about them back over here. You know, I was happy with doing some shorting over here. Around that time is when we shorted. What did we short here? It was really crazy gains. Luna, like Terra Luna, whatever that the fiasco. We shorted that sucker. We made a killing off of it. Yeah, it was wild. All right, let's go back over here a little bit more. Do I on Peppercoin? I do for the long term here. It's been kind of brutal, to be honest. I don't think Trump has the ability to say I'm sorry. He'd have to somehow spin it as some type of win, whether or we did or didn't. It's order to change his direction. Yeah, I mean, there are countries are going to come up to him and say, okay, we're not going to do exactly what you want, but we're going to give you part of what you want. And for him, he can go out every single time that happens and say, this is a win, this is a win, that's a win, and we're all winning here because the world is getting better. He'll have the ability to say all of that if he wants to. The issue is, is he going to be satisfied with Vietnam changing their trade practices when China might not, or the EU might not? Is he fine with that? Or is he going to be like, hey, China, we made a deal. Vietnam, we made a deal. Canada, we made a deal. Mexico, we made a deal. But the EU, you kind of stuck up over there. Let's keep those tariffs on you a little bit longer. You should feel the pain. You know what I mean? That type of stuff is, I think, what he's more willing to do. Because for this example here, actually, let's just break down the tariffs here. Let's see. Can I do it like this? There you go. This should work. There we go. Okay. So I basically asked to do a full breakdown of the executive order and part about each country I was having conversations above about, because you guys know how sometimes ChatGPT doesn't do exactly what you want on the first try. This may be hard for you to read, but don't worry, I'm going to read it for you and kind of summarize it up here. So on April 2nd, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order imposing a series of tariffs aimed at addressing trade imbalances and promoting fair trade practices. This move, referred to by the administration as Liberation Day, introduces a baseline here, guys, 10% tariff on imports from all countries with higher rates for specific nations based on existing trade deficits and perceived unfair practices. So everybody gets 10%, and if we have really bad trade imbalances with you, you get more than 10%. All right, that's basically what it's saying. Below is a comprehensive breakdown of the executive order, followed by the detailed analysis of its impact on Mexico, Canada, China, the EU, and the United Kingdom. I just chose those 5 countries. I think they're a little bit larger than everybody else. Oh, excuse me, India and Vietnam. I chose a little bit more, along with the potential responses from each, so how they may respond. So, what the executive order did was basically declare a national emergency, which may be overkill, but maybe not for Trump. The executive order declares a national emergency in response to large and persistent U.S. goods trade deficits, citing them as threats to national security and economic stability. Implementation of tariffs. Baseline tariff. A 10% tariff is imposed on all imports from countries with which the United States has a trade deficit, effective April 5th, 2025 at 12:01 a.m. That would be this Sunday, I'm guessing. Today's Thursday. That's Friday. This Saturday, this Saturday. And so, I mean, Bitcoin will be trading, it'll be going live around that time, so you may see Bitcoin break down during that if there's no backing off period here. Next up, enhanced tariffs for specific countries. Higher tariffs are applied to countries with which the United States has significant trade deficits, effective April 9th, 12:01 a.m. Right? So those enhanced tariffs are going to be happening a little bit later, a few days later, but still going to be happening. And during that time, I believe I will be in Vegas having fun gambling away all my money because it's the same thing if I toss in the market right now. Maybe not, but it'd be more fun, I guess, at this point. And then we're going to have targeted tariffs on specific goods. A 25% tariff is imposed on all imported cars and trucks, aiming to encourage domestic automobile production. You've seen a lot of the union workers really praising this one move here. We saw it during his speech yesterday. So from a political standpoint, those ups and downs, but I would say more downs because of what we're seeing happening right now with the stock market, people's 401ks, and things like that. Oh, man, don't know if you guys have ever tried water, but it's some amazing stuff. Now we're going to go through a country-specific breakdown and potential responses. This is not a very long part of it here, it's just a little bit, but this is Mexico. So Mexico is exempt from the new reciprocal tariffs due to an existing 25% fentanyl-related duties and 10% tariff on certain energy and mineral products. Additionally, goods complaints with the United States Mexico Canada agreement continue to enjoy tariff exemptions. Right? Goods compliance. So they're seeing a little bit of an okay thing here. So Mexico's kind of in the clear. Now, a potential response they may have, like how they're going to respond to this. Given the exemption, Mexico may focus on maintaining compliance with the USMCA provisions and addressing specific U.S. concerns such as fentanyl trafficking to avoid future tariffs. Right? So Mexico, they're not getting any more, any less than they've already had. So Mexico will probably just say, okay, we're just going to chill out. We're going to adjust slowly to all of this, but we don't feel the need to go on the attack with America. We don't feel the need to do that, which I think is probably a good thing for them because, again, Trump will go tit for tat all freaking day. You guys know Trump. You guys know he will go tit for tat. You pick on him, he'll pick on you, and America has a much bigger stick than every other country in the freaking world. So, again, it's a low. You got to be careful when it comes to Trump in this economy. Now, Canada, tariffs imposed. Similar to Mexico, Canada is exempt from the new reciprocal tariffs. However, existing tariffs include a 25% duty on certain goods and a 10% tariff on Canadian energy and potash products. USMCA compliant goods remain exempt from additional tariffs. Pretty much the exact same thing as Mexico, but they do have the same tariffs imposed, I would say, overall. All right, except for these potash products seem a little bit different. Whatever potash is, thinking potato, something like that. You guys can let me know if I'm wrong. Potential response. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney has expressed intentions to fight these tariffs with countermeasures and act with a purpose and with force. Canada may implement retaliatory tariffs on U.S. goods and seek diplomatic negotiations to address the imposed duties. From what I've seen already, I do believe that Canada has already done some stuff. This is 3 hours ago. Let's see. Disability. Nope. But yeah, Canada did already put tariffs on us. I think it was actually a 25% tariffs on cars, which is going to be pretty interesting here. Next up, we have China. This is a biggie. Chinese goods face a 34% tariff in addition to previously imposed 20% tariff, resulting in a cumulative 54% tariff on Chinese imports. There's no freaking way that's going to happen. I just can't imagine us having a 34% tariff on China. Maybe you guys do. 34% added on with that 20%, moving it up to 54%. I just don't know if that's possible because of how many goods we get from China. Like, you know, the Temus and the stuff like that, they're losing the loophole as well to get cheap goods in here. Like, absolutely insane. And I guess what China's been doing is China's been sending a lot of their goods to Vietnam to have, like, say, oh, it's made in Vietnam, but in reality, it did stop in Vietnam, get some packaging, like, you know, some stamps and stuff like that. And now they're Vietnamese products, and now Vietnam companies are selling them to the United States, when in reality, it was all made in China, right? So they're getting around the tariffs that way. Now, this is a potential response from China, though. China's Ministry of Commerce has condemned the tariffs as unilateral bullying and pledged retaliation to safeguard its interest. Potential countermeasures could include imposing tariffs on U.S. exports to China, restricting access to Chinese markets for U.S. companies, or leveraging its holdings of U.S. debt. I'm not really concerned about anything except for leveraging its holdings of U.S. debt. We're going to talk about that here in a second. I'm going to ask GPT a question. The EU is subject to a 20% tariff on its exports to the United States. Pretty simple here. They could also do retaliatory tariffs, legal action through the World Trade Organization, or seeking alliances with other affected countries to present a united front against United States trade policies. This is, again, why I said Trump needed to go one country by country. He doesn't need to be doing the huge swath of things we've been talking about. He just needs to do baby steps. Go after Canada and Mexico first, right? Then go after China. Then go after the EU. Honestly, I think we should be okay with Canada and Mexico. Let's be chill with them. Let's go after the EU. Let's go after China. You know, sea to shining sea. Let's get them. But we're not going to go down that way. Now, the UK, they only get a 10% tariff, which is actually pretty low. I guess that's because they're our friends, allies, you know, chip chip cheerio. No, pip pip cheerio. Jeez. Right, and then the UK officials have initiated a formal process to retaliate if favorable trade deal with the United States is not secured. So they're going to negotiate. If it doesn't work out, they're going to respond back, and it's not going to be good for anybody. India is subject to 26% tariff on its exports, right? The Indian government is studying the impact of these tariffs and aims to push for a comprehensive trade deal with the United States within a year. And again, so they favor negotiation over retaliation, which I think is probably a good thing here. And then Vietnam faces 46% tariffs on all of its exports. That's absolutely insane. But again, they're seeking dialogue, not retaliation. So again, there are some countries on here that are saying, hey, we don't really want to pick a fight because we know we can't win. Let's work out a deal. And the more that these side deals with these smaller countries get done, the easier it's going to be for Trump to go to Europe and say, hey, you're by yourself. You're alone. Do you want access to our markets? Because we're going to squeeze you more and more and more and more until, you know, all of a sudden you're in a deep recession. Maybe we are too, but we can buy our way out of it because that's what we always do, right? And that can really cause Europe to go into a full-on panic mode here. So I think the EU is probably the strongest opponent we have right now. But I don't think the EU can come close to winning unless Trump just really isn't looking for a really transformative deal. He just wants a minor win, right? If he wants a real win, you know, Europe will be on its knees in a few months. But I don't know if Trump has that type of aura, so to speak, to get them to do that. Which could be pretty interesting here. Now, what I wanted to actually come over here and do, it was go over here to one of these. There you go. And let me just ask ChatGPT this question right here as I move up. Sorry, making sure Loki's not close to me every time I move my rolling chair. I haven't rolled over his tail in like a couple years, but like the yellow like traumatized me. How can China... Oh, I just didn't spell it capital. Okay. It's USA debt holdings. Explain the worst case scenario. And what is most likely to happen. Okay. Because I'm actually curious about this. I've heard stories about this in movies and stuff like that, but this is interesting. So, China holds a substantial amount of U.S. Treasury securities, making it one of the largest foreign creditors to the United States. This position has led to discussions about whether China could leverage its holdings as a tool in economic or geopolitical disputes. Understanding the potential implications require examining both the worst-case scenario and the more probable outcomes. China's potential leverage, right? In theory, China could attempt to influence U.S. policies by threatening to sell off large portions of its treasury holdings. Such an action might be intended to signal economic displeasure or to exert pressure during negotiations. However, the effectiveness and feasibility of this strategy are subject to significant debate among... Refresh. ChatGPT be doing that sometimes. There we go. Significant debate among economists and policymakers. Now, here's the worst case scenario, I guess, for China. If China decided to rapidly sell off a significant portion of its U.S. Treasury securities, the immediate concern would be a potential spike in U.S. interest rates. A sudden influx of treasuries into the market could lead to a decreased bond prices and increased yields, raising borrowing costs for the United States government and potentially slowing economic growth. Additionally, such a move could cause volatility in the global financial markets, given the central role of the United States treasuries and the international financial system. I mean, that'd be bad, right? So, however, this scenario is considered unlikely for several reasons. Self-inflicted economic harm. A massive sell-off would likely reduce the value of China's remaining holdings, leading to significant financial losses. Moreover, destabilizing the U.S. economy could have adverse effects on the global economy, including China's export-driven market. So, again, China is not trying to bite the hand that feeds it, but they will, bark at us a little bit, I would say. Market absorption capacity, excuse me. The U.S. Treasury market is deep and liquid, suggesting that it could absorb large sales over time without dramatic disruptions. Other investors might view higher yields as attractive, stepping in to purchase the securities, which of course that would be true if there's better payoff, right? Limited potential impact. Using Treasury holdings as a political tool could damage China's reputation as a reliable economic partner, potentially leading to capital flight and reduced foreign investment. I don't think this one's really going to happen because, again, China, they're too big to fail right now. They can suffer like we're suffering right now, but it's not the same thing, right? Now, the more likely scenario, rather than engaging in drastic actions, China is more likely to adopt a gradual approach to diversifying its reserves. This strategy could involve slowly reducing its holdings of U.S. treasuries while increasing investments in other assets, such as gold or bonds from other countries. Such a measured approach allows China to manage its exposure to U.S. debt without causing market disruptions that could backfire economically. So I think that's pretty nice. But if they want to, they can fuck some shit up. And this is why I think back in the day they were like, China's buying all of our debt. We have to stop them now. But, we didn't stop them. We just gave them more debt to buy. So, Did Elon leave Doge? No, he might leave Doge in the next few months. I think potash is a potassium product. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had no idea. It's for fertilizer. Oh, okay. And hey, Pokemon America First squeeze. If Trump wants to squeeze the market, he can definitely do it right now. He just has to say something crazy about how he doesn't want tariffs or something. Mike, any chance these tariffs end up going towards buying Bitcoin? I doubt it. I doubt it. I think more likely it's going to go off to pay off debt and then come into tax, go into tax cuts to kind of make the bill seem a little bit more feasible for the Republicans that don't want to increase the deficit. They don't want to increase the debt, basically the debt bubble that we're currently living in. I think these tariffs would be a way to kind of short-term help out those senators and congressmen get their bill across the finish line here. But I don't think it's really going to go to Bitcoin, if you ask me. I think if they do that, it'll just be a separate law, and I think it could probably happen. But I don't think it's just the priority right now. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done business with friends or hung out with friends and you had to do some type of business together, and then you learn that what you're doing with them is not really a priority while you're making it priority. So all of a sudden you're like, okay, if you're not going to treat this as a priority, I'm not going to treat it as a priority. So you tell me when you're ready, because I'm not going to try to step up and do something if you're just not caring, right? So if it's not that much of a priority, this is not a priority for Trump right now. I don't think crypto is a priority for Trump. I think this is a priority for his advisor, David Sachs. And I think David Sachs is going to be fine with this, right? I think we're going to get money for Bitcoin and stuff like that down the road from the government. But I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. I think this is the tariffs is the big thing at the moment. We haven't had tariffs this big, I think in over 100 years or something. So you can think about this as a massively historic day. But for most of us, it's just another Thursday. And hey, Michael, happy to see you, my man. Happy to see you back as well during all the crazy times that we're in. Can't tariff Bitcoin in Moses' mind in the United States? Oh yeah, we got plenty of mind here. No, use the tariffs tax to buy it. No. They're not going to do it though. That's what I'm talking about. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. It won't look right as far as messaging to have that money go towards buying Bitcoin. I think he's going to use it to pay down the debt symbolically because the debt's still going to go higher. And then what he'll do is he'll use it saying, hey, we're allowed to give you some tax benefits or some help with tariffs. You're getting tariffed. We're going to help you out financially. And the money that we're getting from our tariffs is going to help you guys out a little bit as well. So I think that's what we're going to see. But I don't think the big companies like an Apple or a Google, Oracle, whatever these companies are, I don't think necessarily they are going to get all these freebies from the government to help them out with tariffs. I think more likely than not, these benefits that are going to come out once the tariffs start hitting small businesses are going to be going towards small businesses. Think of, I don't know, maybe all the jalapenos that Taco Bell uses comes from Mexico. Now they got to pay an extra 10%. If you're the conglomerate of Taco Bell, you're probably not going to get any help from the government. But if you just own one Taco Bell and all of a sudden your jalapenos cost 10, 15% more, you're like, fuck, government, can you help me out here? And the government will be like, oh, yeah, we'll help you out a little bit here. you know, thanks for voting for us. We're here to support you. We know times are rough, but we want to make sure you're still good to go so you can keep your employees hired and things like that. Big business is gonna, like, big business is big business because they have really great margins. Like, think of how much let me see this. How much does it cost to make a Nike shoe in Vietnam and have it shipped here? Then what is the cost and margin and profit? Next shoe. Right. This totals to a production of approximately $16.25 a pair, shipping approximately $1 a pair, import duties before the recent tariff changes. Duties were about $2.50 a pair. This brings the landed cost, that means over here to the States, total cost before reaching the United States to around $19.75 per pair. Overheads cost approximately $15 per pair, covering corporate expenses, design, and development. I mean, they've been selling the same shoe for years in some instances, so that's probably not going to be so high. Marketing and sales around $5 per pair. Dude, GPT's getting on my nerve with this, like, cutting out thing. Let's see. Adding these components, the total cost to Nike is approximately $39 a pair. Nike usually sells to retailers for $50 a pair. Consumers purchase shoes for around $100 a pair, right? Nike's gross profit from per pair of the website whole minus the price of total cost to Nike, equating to about $10.25 per pair. Nike's net profit is about $4.50 per pair. The retailer's profit is about $50 per pair, the difference between the retail and wholesale prices, but this does not account for their operational expenses, of course, right? So, with the impact of recent tariffs, instead of costing $19.75 a pair, right, and it adds approximately $9 per pair, so it goes from $19.75 to, I guess, around $48.83 a pair per pair. And that's why you saw Nike, I don't know if we actually saw Nike. Oops, I forgot the N. Down about 13%. Maybe go to the daily chart. The heck? Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's why you saw Nike down about 14-15% today. Right. That being said, what they're going to have to do now is when selling to wholesale, and again, they got their own stores and stuff like that, they got their own websites and stuff like that, so they don't always have to do that. So, like, if I was going to go over here to Nike, and we're not going to Foot Locker or something like that, go over here, men, basketball shoes. I wish I knew celebrities. I really wish I did. I don't know. Did I just say basketball shoes? There we go. Right? It's $190 if I buy it from their website, which most people do. So, this shoe, right? Where are we at? Oh, that's news too. All right. So, with the new tariffs getting here, it's going to cost about $50 a pair, right? And I buy it for $190. They're still making a killing off that shoe. So what they're going to do is they're probably going to soak in the majority of the margin for this, not raise this by too much. But maybe what we'll do is, let's go over here to this shoe. It's at $190, right? Let's see if this changes over the next few weeks and it goes from $190 up to something else, you know? But again, $50, $190, they're still making a great profit. But what I think they're going to be forced to do is when they're selling it to Foot Locker, right? And they're doing the wholesale thing to retailers, I think instead of selling them to $50 a pair, they're going to have to sell them for $100 a pair, which means that the Foot Locker is just going to get demolished because Nike's going to say, if you want our shoes, that's what's going to happen. Like, sorry, bro. Like, that's what's going to happen. So there's going to be a stiff negotiation right there. And Nike's going to be like, fine, you don't have to sell our shoes. We'll just have them online. We'll have them in the Nike stores, and we'll be fine, right? Now, of course, there's other costs with having a store and things like that, but they're going to see a lot of different things playing out like that right now, which is going to make this incredibly crazy. But the new total cost to Nike, this increases Nike total cost to about $48.83 per pair. Right? This cost may lead Nike to adjust pricing strategies, potentially resulting in higher retail prices to maintain profit margins. But if they wanted to, they can soak in some of that profit. But of course, what they're going to have to do is layoffs. And hey, Mo, happy to see you, my man. And thanks, guys. Yeah, if you guys can hit the like button, I'd appreciate it a lot. So more corporations being bailed out while the mainstream eats it. It depends on if they do get bailed out. Trump, as of this point, really doesn't want to bail out anybody. Jerome Powell may bail them out with rate cuts, or if things get so bad, the government will have to step in. This would be Trump and Republicans and Democrats all coming together saying, hey, farmer in Oklahoma, we know these tariffs have been very hard on you. We know you're losing money right now because of what we're doing. We're going to give you a check to make up the losses that you've been having. That way you're made financially whole, right? But that'd be more to the farmer. I don't think Trump cares about the corporations as much, besides what they do for the stock market. But, you know, when you talk about these prices and things like this, I mean, it's going to be absolutely insane, right? Because landed, you're going, again, from $40. What did I say over here? You're going from a 1975 to $48.83, right? So that's going to be kind of rough overall for everybody. But there's lots of other things that come in here from the around the world, right? Like do the same thing, but with the BYD Han car in China. And if someone wanted to buy it here before and after the current tariff. Now, this already has a bunch of tariffs, so it'd be absolutely insane, but I just want to show you guys how crazy this is. I rep the Cortez. There you go. Hey, LW, yeah, let me know if the prices go, because I'm very interested in this right here. So the BYD Han is a premium electric sedan manufactured in China, offering advanced features and performance. For individuals in the United States considering purchasing this vehicle, it's essential to understand the cost implications, especially in light of recent tariff changes. Below is an analysis of the costs involved in acquiring a BYD Han in the United States, both before and after the implementation of new tariffs, right? So the vehicle cost in China. The BYD Han EV is available in China with prices ranging from approximately 270,000 yuan to 350,000 yuan. I don't know why it's doing that. Because then I got to scroll up all the way over here. Yeah. So it's kind of around 37,000 to 48,000 bucks, okay? Now, shipping fees usually range from $1,000 to $3,000. Customs and duties. Before recent tariff changes, the U.S. imposed a 2.5% import duty on passenger vehicles. Compliance and modification costs. Vehicle imported in the United States must comply with the Department of Transportation, yada, yada, yada. And the cost can be between $1,000 and $5,000. So with all of that type of stuff, before the recent tariffs, it might cost you around 48,000 bucks, right? Now, with the recent tariffs, right, in April 2025, the U.S. government imposed a 25% tariff on all imported automobiles, including electric vehicles from China. The new tariff would be 25%. That's 10,000 bucks added on. Right, so that'd make it go from 48,000 bucks up to 59. And let me actually, didn't Biden put a tariff on Chinese cars as well? Let me see. Yeah, in May 2024, the Biden administration increased tariffs on Chinese EVs from 25% to 100%, effectively quadrupling the rate. Oh, well, there we go. Let's see if it fixes it. There you go. Okay, I was about to have to redo it. So Biden maintained the Section 301 tariffs that were imposed under President Trump, which included a 25% tariff on imported Chinese automobiles, including electric vehicles. Okay, so I don't care about any of that. Now do the math for the BYD, knowing all of the stuff you just talked about. So it's still not doing the 100% tariff by Joe Biden. Let's see. It's about the 100% Joe Biden tariff. I think OpenAI is actually just glitching out right now. Oh. Yeah, there's a network error again. I'll see. I'm doing the BYD math. You forgot to add the 100%. So do it again and make sure not to forget. I swear I get passive aggressive with the freaking AI. So the price in China is around 37,000, right? Around 27.49. Now it's now it's gonna be different math and stuff like that. Import duty 2.5%. There you go, 100% tariff on there. Okay. There we go. There's the tariff right there. So it goes from like 37,300 with all the fees and stuff like that, right? No, but see, it added the Trump administration tariff and not so. It's this minus 9,000, so it's basically about 80,000 bucks to get over here. 80,000 bucks when in reality you can go buy it in China for like 37,000 bucks. And I mean, okay, wait, GBT's having some hiccups here, but yeah, that's kind of the issue there. U.S. oil spiked downward tonight, which was not good. The dollar index started to crash again. The Russell 2000 crashed, of course, SPY and everything. But gold started to come back down a little bit here as well. Even gold was coming back down. So we are seeing a little bit more of a uh-oh moment at this point in time. So we'll see what happens next there. We don't need the pitchfork. I don't even think that thing was working here. But gold, my God, guys, gold is, it's still going higher week by week, but it definitely took a hit this week. It definitely took a hit over there. Let's go back over here very fast. There we go. You see my incoming bounce. Right now, we're trying to bounce. We're going to see if it holds up. Right now, I think we just need some good news from Trump, but hopefully it manages to bounce back up. Do you think that's why he's talking about the Doge stimulus check preparing for troubled times? I don't know. I don't think the checks, the Doge checks, have enough Republican support or enough Democratic support or enough what's the word, not collateral, bipartisan. I don't think it has bipartisan support, so I don't think it'll actually work, to be honest. You got the people like Rand Paul or the debt hawks. They don't want to spend more money, right? And then you got a lot of Democrats thinking that, like, hey, remember one of the Democratic women got in trouble for it? She was like, American people do not need an extra $5,000. What are they going to do with $5,000? 5,000 bucks is nothing. I was like, you don't say shit like that. Everybody that I knew growing up could use an extra 5,000 bucks to pay off bills, get on top of their debt, just get a little bit more financially stable, start up a retirement fund if you haven't even had one yet. I mean, people can do a lot of stuff with 5,000 bucks. But personally, I just don't think it's going to come to pass. And hey, Villa, happy to see you, my man. OpenAI has also gotten more spicy with its responses. Yeah, I mean it's been ticking me off bit by bit. I mean I have everything ready for it right now. I'm using it for some, I'm building out a course right now. I gotta figure out how to sell some courses. I want to sell some courses. I want to sell some little products and stuff like that and see how it works. And yeah, maybe that'll work out a little bit better here. But the first course, like the course I'm building out right now, let me pull this over here because it's not even set up the right way. Get outdoor package. Let's see. Let's see. Is it gonna show it though? See, I don't know why it's glitching. ChatGPT's glitching out a little bit here. There we go. So you can see all this, right? End of section 6, tools and workspace and real examples. This is basically all the slides I'm having right here. But like here's an example. Let's say your account is at $2,000. Your daily plan states you risk 1%, which is $20 on each trade. In the morning, aggregator says stock ABC is upgraded. The chart on the daily time frame forms a breakout on $50 for the $2 stop range. This means that you can buy $20 divided by 2 of 10 shares. You open an aggregator feed on monitor 2, chart platform on monitor 1, and place an order at $50 for 10 shares. Stop at 48. If it's 48, you lose $2 a share times 10 equals $20 or 1% of the account, which is the 1% risk you had up here. If the aggregator or watch list logic suggests bullish momentum continues, you might set a $4 profit target to aim for 2 to 1. This straightforward math ensures your plan synergy is immediate with aggregator impetus, a chart trigger, and a risk discipline. Most of you guys don't use aggregators. I mean, it's basically just like news in my opinion. But this could be interesting for people to actually start learning how to do it. But I just don't know how many of you guys have like a full-on monitor. And this seems kind of like condensed because it has to be. But I'm going to be doing videos alongside all this stuff. But like the whole course is basically just this, right? Like slide 1, 2, 3, slide 14, 13, 10, 9, whatever. Then it goes down, then it goes down. There's a bunch of other stuff. Like if I stopped, let's go up real fast. This is like the 3/4 spot, I guess. Boom. Discord, right? This is how to find different trading servers on Discord and how to be careful with it. Because you guys all remember Atlas Trading. Voice chat with different people, kind of have somebody to talk with when you're trading, which I think is pretty cool. Real-time chats, bot tools that they have built into them and all that type of stuff. Telegram, right? So proprietary mentorship programs, right? So if you guys want to go pay somebody to help you out, like for group sessions and stuff like that, I try to break it down for everybody. This is Yahoo Finance, way to find your news, right? CoinDesk, Market Watch, right? So breaking down all CNBC. I break down all these websites, all these tools for you. I mean, that's the goal here. This is going to probably cost, by the time I sell it, probably $99.99, which I should probably sell it for like $499. And maybe I will up the price eventually. But I think for now, $99.99, and then for the first week, for everybody here that like watches my stream for the first week, it'll be $9.99. So like a coupon or something. So if you guys are regulars, when I do make this course, it'll be done in a few months here, about a month, maybe a month and a half, 2 months if I really buckle down on it with my new computer. Yay. I'll be like, hey everybody, use this coupon code even if you don't think you're going to use it. It's $10. Might as well have it, right? You can share it with your friends after you buy it. $10. After that first week, it goes to $99.99. I take the link off of all of my other videos. It goes away. The coupon isn't valid. And then everybody else has to pay $99.99 for it. Then after maybe a few months, if it's selling pretty well, I up the price to like $199.99 or $299. I'm not entirely sure. It really depends on how long this is. Because this is going to be hours and hours and hours of content. Whereas if you go to the regular courses, they're like a 4-hour course, a 5-hour course, something like that. Actually, I don't even know. Trading course. I mean, I don't know how this works. Or it could be part of a subscription. Start free. So see, I hate when it starts free and doesn't tell you how much it really costs, because they get you hooked in with one different trade. 1 month. How do I do this? So there's 11 hours in fundamentals of equities, 10 hours in forex, 15 hours in bond investings, and 16 hours in options and futures. I'm basically going to have like 40, 50 hours on just trading stocks and crypto and not going to forex, not going into bonds, not going to derivatives, because most of you guys don't need to be worrying about any of this stuff. Honestly, any of it. All you guys want to do is make money trading crypto and stocks. And of course, maybe I'll do one for options later on, but I don't think you guys need to do all that other crazy stuff right here. It doesn't tell me how much it costs, and that's probably the most annoying thing about this. How do I find reviews? It doesn't let me see the full reviews. See, I hate when that happens too. But yeah, so you can see the different ways of doing it. Mine's just going to be about what crypto is, what the stock market is, the little stuff you see blinking on the screen and things like that. And then of course, tools, how to use trading view, things like that. Like I'll try to make it more simple. I'll be like, okay, if you guys haven't used TradingView before, here's my tutorial on my YouTube channel. But what I'm gonna have to do is I'm probably gonna make a fresh tutorial about TradingView, because you know my current TradingView tutorial, if you guys didn't know, it's on there. It still gets views every now and again, but my current TradingView tutorial for all this stuff is like 3 hours long, because I went through. Remember, I did everything from like the what is it? What did I use over here? Here we go. Does it not want to go up? There we go. It's my you know, they have a screener on here that's better than FinViz. It's just a lot of stuff to figure out, which most people don't have the time for, which I completely understand. I can do a lot with 5K. Exactly. Everybody can do a lot with 5K. I could have got a nice new computer for free with that 5K. I would have bought a new gaming computer. But now my computer, I don't know when my computer's going to be here. I think it's going to be here like 3 to 5 weeks. Loki, you want to stop that? I don't think that's good for you. No. Loki's been trying to hide under a bed. Granted, it's a raised bed, so he has more room. But I don't like him hanging out under beds. He scares me when he does that. You want to come over here? I can hear your tail wagging. Come here. Yeah. Yeah, scaring the living crap out of me when he comes out like a little zombie dog. Loki. Yeah, Badoo. Come on. Badoo. Come on. Oh, you had to stretch first? Yeah. Oh. You guys can't see him, but, you know, you can see his paw. He's here in spirit. Come here. Oh. Or kind of. No, you just want to stand up and relax? Okay. He's trying to get those butt scratches. And so you can see him peeking right there. Oh, yeah, I'm just going to give him head rubs. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the gist of what's going on today. I'm kind of happy and surprised Bitcoin didn't really tank the same way we saw the rest of the market tank. But I really believe, as far as that today, like we talked about earlier, I think Bitcoin just fell a little bit earlier than the rest of the market. So the rest of the market is basically just catching up to where Bitcoin is. And remember, Bitcoin's kind of real liquidity, what's happening at this exact moment in time, and the market has to close, it has to open, it has a different type of just a different setup, if you will, right? So I'm not overly concerned about this. Again, I'm more of in dollar cost averaging mode. I've been in this mode for a minute here. I'm not buying a lot, like I said before. I got stopped out of that other trade we talked about before, as far as the small one, this breakdown over here that we bought over here. The other trade over here, where we've been holding for a while, where I told you guys I'm holding for about another month and a half. I will be holding that for a month and a half unless we start to break down below the lows over here, 76,615. And if that's the case here, I will of course be stopped out, and I'll have to wait to see what happens next. We did good on this first buying opportunity here, which I think was pretty nice. Afterwards, we really have to see what happens next, because I think even right here with the Fibonacci extension, white line, baby. You guys know how I feel about that white line. I think normally for you guys it's gray, but I have it white just because that's the target I like to look for. But yeah, so we kind of in this little bit of a pickle because we're still bearish on the weekly charts. And then if you go over here to the monthly charts as well, I hate to, push down on this over and over again. But the monthly MACD is looking pretty nasty as well. We could see a death cross there. We've already seen the stochastic cross. It's crossed plenty of times before. It's not the biggest thing. But the RSI is crossed as well. And so the last time we saw a move like this happen, it did go into a nasty bear market. Back over here, the last time we saw it happen, it went to a nasty bear market. Over here, it was a little bit more choppy. Like when there was COVID, but it was more choppy. So, because of this, we could be seeing something different. What I've been trying to figure out more with this MACD, because again, crypto is relatively new when it comes to monthly charts and stuff like that. The Dow Jones has been choppy before, and we've still managed to just fine. The NASDAQ over here, same thing. It's been able to get choppy, but it's still done okay. And the NASDAQ monthly chart has been bearish for the last 2 months. Like I say, for the last month, and now we're continuing for the second month here. But it's been bearish, right? Where the Bitcoin is not. And the SPY, same thing. It just turned bearish this month. We've been bearish in the past. Of course, if you guys look like this, you can see kind of what I'm talking about. COVID bearishness right here. This is 2008 rate hike bearishness right there. See the choppiness coming along. So the way we're going, of course, we do have to wait for the month to close and all that type of stuff. But I mean, that's like 4 weeks from freaking now. You could definitely see the market pushing down a little bit more unless Trump is able to turn around these tariff moves soon. And again, I just don't see him changing those tariff moves. So I'm not really in a panic and sell type of mode because I am much more of a longer term investor. But like I said before, we're just not an opportune moment for a lot of trading, which really sucks, at least for my trading style. I've seen a lot of other traders out there try to tell people to buy and sell and stuff like that, and it just hasn't been working because the news has been dominating way too much of the volatility here. So even if we're seeing some good moves like, oh yeah, we can buy for a couple days, we're bottoming out, let's do a short-term buy. We only made like 4 or 5%, where normally we'd want to make 20% plus on those types of plays. And that's because, again, we're still in a bearish trend. But, all of a sudden, auto tariffs announced, boom, goes down. All of a sudden, Chinese 57% tariffs, boom, we go down. It's very hard to try to minimize that or try to like really hone on what's happening there. So we'll see. Have I built an AI agent? If so, you use Nate, N-A-N, N-A-N, Nane, I don't know, Nathan, I don't know what Nathan is. I have not built an AI chatbot. I just use ChatGPT for right now. I have some AI tools, of course, but that's Opus Clip, and that's very simple stuff here. So we'll see. And then I am going to be doing some podcasts up at the Columbia Tower. I'm going to be doing more content up there. I'm going to be up there tomorrow before I have to go to a YouTube event in Seattle. But I learned some bad news. Bad news. So at the Columbia Tower here, let me just move all this stuff around. There we go. Wait. What is that? There you go. Sorry, I don't know what the heck that little one was doing. Columbia Tower Club. So you guys know I'm in this Columbia Tower Club here, but there's also a podcast room here. This one right here. All right. So I thought that the podcast room was part of... Give me a second. Well, I thought this nice podcast room right here was part of my membership, where, like I'm in the clouds, I can have the good backdrop and things like that, and everything would be really cool, right? Because I'm a member of this club right here. Remember, it's at the top building. It's really, really nice. I love this place. The staff is amazing. Everything about this place is just great. Really, really good. Literally, I do work up here and it's fantastic. Now it's more YouTube work, so people are like, eh. But look at that view. I can look down on the stadiums from here. I was just talking with that gentleman last night. He is one of the committee chairs. Really nice guy. But yeah, so I'm over here and I'm chilling. I'm talking to people. I'm getting buzzed and whatnot. I don't do any mini office meetings. I'm not that type of special, right? I'm kind of a loner, but I have my friends, if you will. But I thought that this was part of it. So they have discounts for members, but when I saw this, it looked like such a ripoff for me, or just not worth the cost, that I'm just like, okay, I'm not gonna do it. So what is it? Yeah, book a session. Right? 1 hour is $500. That's a no way, Jose. 4 hours is $1,500. No way, Jose. 8 hours is $3,000. Again, no way. Studio session, a weekend half day is 4 hours, right? $1,750. And I don't know why this says studio and not studio session half day, but whatever. This is a weekend half day, right? So that's even more. And the studio session a weekend full day 8 hours, that's $3,000 still. And the studio session 2 hours is $1,000. Right? 2 hour studio rental is for extended interviews, content batching, or co-hosted episodes. See, my thing is when I've ever, been on friends' podcast or I've seen people do the podcast, it's like a cool, like 15 minutes to a half an hour of setting up, make sure everybody's good, catching up, talking around and stuff like that. Then you start going in and you kind of like, you stay there until you're done talking, and then your guy cuts up everything and you're good to go. This one, I can't justify $500 for an hour when in reality, you go over to my YouTube channel. Again, it's not the same type of view or experience, but here we go. Right now, this kind of fucked up because I'm still testing out the audio in this room and things like that. You can see how dark I am compared to how outside is. So again, I got to work the lighting. The lighting in here is very dim, so I may have a ring light or something, but I need to put it up higher so my face is actually brightened, because the light in here was kind of like broken a little bit, or just not at full strength. I don't know how to use lights there yet. I don't want to ask because I don't like asking people for stuff. Oh, I forgot my audio on my thing is set down. But I could read. I got my little microphone right here. You guys can't hear the audio, but the audio is working out really nicely. But you see I have the view behind me? I could set this up anywhere I want to, and I'd be just fine. As I talk, you can see the rainbow behind me. You can see the clouds moving along. So, like, if I go over here, I know it's going to be hard to see this because it's like a 1080, because it's not 4K, because I'm not recording and uploading in 4K. That'd be wild. Playback speed 2, right? And you can kind of see me, and you can kind of slowly see the clouds drifting across the sky. And by the time it ends, right, they're way over there. Now, this video was supposed to be much longer because I had some paper and everything. But basically, right as the video ended, funny, an Amber Alert went off on my phone. So you're going to see me talking, it just cuts off like that. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't say anything negative about that kid, but I was like, the Amber Alert system, I was not happy with that system right there. But yeah, so that's kind of crazy right there. 8 then, yeah, right. What a beta male clickbait title. Oh my god, yeah, of course. I always do clickbait titles now. But we haven't seen a crash this bad, really, I don't think, since COVID. I think that's actually how bad today was. CNBC. Oh, the futures are still down too. Shit. Let's see. The Dow was down 1,600 points. Oh, I gotta pull up a trading view again. Let me see. And let's go to the Dow. Mr. Dow, Mr. Dow. Yeah, when's the last time we had a bad day like today? It's been a minute here, guys. So basically from close to open, down about 1,600 points. Oh god, I can't remember the last time. What's over here? That's 400. Okay. This was July 2024. That was 600, so that's not going to be a 1600. That's only 1,000. None of that's going to matter. We're going up, going up, going up. None of that's going to matter. Nope, none of that's going to matter. Maybe this. Nope, that's 700. None of that. Maybe this really long one right here. Nope, that's only 1,000. So these ones aren't going to matter as much. But let's try there to there. Only 900. So that one's not going to matter. Yeah, we haven't had a move this bad for a minute here. Even over here, I mean, these ones were kind of day by day bad, you would say. That was only 1,000. Let's see. That one was only 500. Oh, here it might be. Yeah, that was 2,000. There we go. So that was 2,000. That was back in March 9th. March 9th. This one was another 2,300. But yeah, that was all the way back during COVID. I know it doesn't seem like we were seeing some crazy crashes, but we're seeing some nasty moves. It's just that we're at the beginning of it, you know? And well, it's not like COVID. You know, COVID back in the day, I don't know if you guys remember that. COVID was just like a whole different experience, right? We were actually going flat for a minute here, right? Because nobody knew exactly what the tariffs were going to do. And then boom, went down, right? Love the view. Is it just you? Yeah, it's just me in those rooms. It's a really nice spot. I don't know how to find it. I really don't know. I was just here. I was literally here last night. And I know on top, connect maybe. Schedule a tour. Ooh, there's a seller lunch tomorrow. Okay, I don't go up there for lunch, but that could be kind of cool. Schedule a tour. Is that just going to be a Woody call? No, no. They have one of those 3D tours you can do. They have a dress code, directions and hours, life for the club, our fresh look, our team. Let's see. No, I just don't know. I just don't know how to get into it. You know what? It might be in a different spot from here. So let's go over here. Columbia Tower Club membership prices. There we go. Membership options. So okay, there's the $290 a month, $240 a month. I'm paying $270 a month. Let's see. Let's see. Can't believe I'm paying $270 a month, but it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. Each to brunch. I could have swore there was like a take a 3D tour button somewhere. Not schedule a tour, but like a 3D tour. Yeah, the food is really good. That's for sure. Let's see. Cooking. Nope. Not gonna find it. It's okay. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it a night here. I gotta go out for a little bit. Go say hi to some friends. I went on a walk today for the first time in a while since I, fucked up my ankle. That was nice. Me and Loki went walking on the beach. It was very snazzy. I'll be live tomorrow, Friday. I'll be live Saturday, Sunday. Monday, I will be going to Vegas until Thursday. So the streams that I do will just be through my phone. They'll be vertical streams. They'll be nice and easy. And then I will be just putting out videos, I suppose. And then once I get back Thursday night, I should be able to stream with you guys. I almost thought about staying the weekend, but then I realized I was getting there Monday. And Monday to Sunday Vegas would be like catastrophically horrible for me. So I don't want to do that. But I will be there for the NAB show, so you may see me make some content about NAB, some cool little things and knickknacks that are out there. I'm just gonna post them and talk about them for a few minutes, and I'm just gonna practice myself being in front of some of these larger crowds, like of people, and just like talking like an influencer in public spaces, which is not me. But I think I'm gonna practice, and why not practice in Vegas where nobody's gonna remember who I am? So yeah, see you guys a little bit later, and thanks for watching.